Oh, wow, that's different. And it won Floor of the Year. They ain't trying to sand this floor. Because you walked in and you said, I want this to look like the color of poop. I'm Daniel. I've been a contractor for a long time and still am to some degree. Part of my job is looking at flooring problems. This is me reacting to Reddit posts about hardwood floors. Landlord fixed nice hardwood floors. Let's take a look at these pictures. There's a hardwood floor. There's a guy taking a picture of himself in the mirror. If anybody wants something to occupy themselves for like 20 to 30 minutes, get on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist and search for mirrors for sale. It is pretty funny to see how people try to contort themselves to take pictures of a mirror without themselves in the mirror. All right, so this guy's taking a picture of the mirror. You can see the guy taking a picture across the room. I'm not sure what's going on with that yet. Oh, wow, that's different. Okay, that is one way to fix stuff in a hardwood floor. Let's see what happened with that one. How the floors looked when I signed my lease and how they looked on move-in day because the landlord fixed some scratches from the previous tenant. Okay, so the landlord painted the floor. The landlord painted the floor and I guess there's base sheet on that one. Oh my gosh. That's not a way to fix scratches, that's a way to cover them up. That's like a horrible makeup job on the floor. I guess I've seen that in the past. I've seen homeowners take a look at their floor and decide that hardwood flooring is too hard to sand and finish. It is not a DIY project, so good for you, homeowner, for recognizing that, or landlord in this case. I can't say you made it look better, and I think the color that you picked says a lot about your decision-making abilities. Because you walked in and you said, I want this to look like the color of poop. But you know, not regular poop, like the poop when you're sick. Either that or we were out of paint that day, so we bought peanut butter and smeared it all over the floor. I mean, that's what a floor looks like when you're filling it. Like when you're sanding and finishing it and you cover the entire floor with filler, it kind of looks like that. So yeah, it doesn't look better. I am not sure. It'd be interesting to know like landlord renter laws, like whether or not you sign up for an apartment and if they drastically change it, if you have any like recourse to back out of your lease. You kind of fixed the problem with a lot larger problem in my mind. You had pretty good looking floors. These are pretty dang good looking floors. They look like a, I don't know, probably Doug fir or something like that, like an old Doug fir floor that it doesn't look bad. I mean, there's some stuff going on with it, but it's just an old floor that's got patina on it, and you kind of fix that with a larger problem. I mean, that's like having a dent in my truck and deciding I'm gonna fix it by driving my truck into a tree. Let's see what the comments say. If I thought I had an option to live somewhere in the interim, that change is a deal breaker. Unforgivable and destroyed the beauty of that room. Amen, deleted. This is an abomination. Yes. Why? Jesus, they had no respect for whatever, no respect whatsoever for people who will actually be living there. Correct. If it's not floor paint, wall paint comes up easily under sweaty skin and he'll probably charge you to fix that. It doesn't seem like the root issue, so I don't think switching to floor paint is what this poster is necessarily looking for. The original poster, the OP, looks like floor paint, but doubt they prepped and sealed it properly, is horribly uneven in the bedroom. They also painted the fridge. What? That's the OP saying they painted the fridge. No way. Why would you leave that picture out? That's pretty bad. I mean, you can do whatever you want with a piece of property that you own, so other people don't have to like it though. And I wouldn't say you ruined that hardwood floor. Maybe it could not be resanded. Maybe it had been sanded too many times and they got a floor pro in that's like, you can either replace it all or something else, but it just seems like scratches. I mean, if you just have scratches, you don't have to paint the floor. You can like buff and coat the floor. And yeah, if you've worn through to raw wood in some spots, then the new finish might highlight those spots. Like you can't necessarily hide everything with a new coat of finish, but it seems like that's a better option than painting the entire floor a color that you think wood might look like, but obviously doesn't. So sorry, renter, our heart goes out to you on this one. Sorry that you live in a poop floor apartment now. Does this look right? No, this doesn't look right, but I'm going to guess before I read anything on this post, this floor is in North Texas, because it looks like the back of an alligator. And this is what is called I call the North Texas scrape. A North Texas cross scrape specifically. Does this look right? I just had my floors refinish. And I do not like how they did the scrapping. I agree, the floor needs to be scrapped. Is this normal or is it a style? It is a style. It seems like it was more gouging and less scrapping, less scraping. This is before the poly. So will that mute the pits? A lot of poly will mute the pits. I don't really know what to say to the installer. Any advice would be helpful. Oh, this person lives in North Texas. I mean, so so most floors get sanded, smooth, and coated. That's like the classic floor people think of. Some floors get what's called hand scraping, which is like, and you do some sanding typically, but you go in with a hand scraper and you finish by like scraping the wood. And that can give the wood an old patinaed look. For some reason around Dallas, they do what's called a cross scrape, which means they scrape sideways to the wood and they put all these lines sideways to the wood. I'm gonna sound a little bit judgy on this because I have strong opinions about it. If you have a cross scrape floor and you like the look of it, fantastic, great, good for you. I do not like the look of cross scrape floor. This is a particularly bad cross scrape floor, in my opinion. It does look like just a bunch of pock marks and divots. Usually if you look up cross scrape, you'll get like more lines in the wood. This looks like the back of an alligator. It seems like you picked what I don't consider to be a particularly appealing floor, maybe you do, and then B, it wasn't done fantastically. It's hard to know from your post though, because you're asking, is this normal or is it a style? And I'm guessing you would have had that conversation with the contractor beforehand. Like, I'm guessing you didn't just say like, hey, do my hardwood floor, high five. And then you come back the next day and it looks like this. Like they probably said, do you want it to look hand scraped and patinaed? And you're like, yeah, but you didn't expect this. So probably not clear communication, and you guys weren't on the same page, and your expectations were very different from what they were going to provide. So the answer is no. Poly is not really going to take that away. It's not going to fill in those holes. If you put down enough poly to fill in those holes, then you'd probably be walking across a floor that's 1 inch higher to the ceiling, is my guess. That's a lot of poly that's going to fill in those holes. But hey, let's go to the comments. What did it look like before? Here's a picture of their floor before. Yep, that is a correct Texas cross scrape. So it looks like there's a before and an after. So yeah, the homeowner probably knew what they were getting. They probably wanted the same thing again. They were like, hey, could you just redo our floors to make them look new and keep that cross scrape? But this is a lot better example of a cross scrape. You can see like the lines running perpendicular to the boards, and this actually looks pretty decent. So I could see how a homeowner would want this. It looks like whoever did their floor for the second time did not know how to reproduce this cross scrape. So this is setting off some serious trypophobia I didn't even know I had. Yeah, trypophobia is a thing. It's kind of like this weird fear and obsession with holes. And if it's a whole thing on the internet, if you Google trypophobia, you'll see all kinds of photoshopped images of holes in things. And yes, I could see this would set off some trypophobia. Looks like hand-hammered copper. It does. And hand-hammered copper would be way more beautiful on their floor than that. This is a joke, right? That's generally the response when I show pictures of some of these scraped floors that I've seen. Is that floor dimpled for speed, like a golf ball? These are speed holes. It's a Homer Simpson reference.
Oh yeah, speed holes.
Don't let them coat over that, as they need to sand more. They ain't trying to sand this floor. Oh, maybe that's what happened. Okay. I'm getting a new perspective on this floor now that I think about it. What I think happened is the homeowner did have a cross scrape floor and they hired somebody to sand the floor, and the person like half sanded out the cross scrape. So they flattened the floor kind of mostly, but they didn't sand it all the way down to the deepest point of the scrape. That's what I think happened. I don't think this is a bad cross scrape. I think this is a bad sand job. Looks like they used an aerator on the floor. Yep. I need more details. Did you ask for hand scrape texture? Oh, let's see if I'm right. I did ask for hand scrapped, but also asked for it to look like my old flooring, which had a mellow, wavy look. Agree, your old flooring looked way better. We had them refinished because we added flooring into more rooms and needed it to blend, and they ended up resurfacing all of it, which we didn't ask or want. So now we have massive pit pop marks all over. So they wanted hand scrape texture. They weren't going for a smooth look. I don't know if they tried to recreate the scrape or if they just like half sanded the original floor. I don't know why they would have to go back and rescrape the original floor. It seems like they could maybe blend it in, maybe not. Maybe not with the hand scrape floor. I haven't done a lot of hand scrape floors personally, so I don't know what that looks like if you like put in a new room and you lace and combine the two floors, like how easy it is to scrape out and blend in without having to redo all of the original stuff. That's a great question. If you know the answer to that question, comment below. Still want to know where this person lives, so I'm just going to scroll down, look for more OP stuff. Mostly just want to know if they're North Texas. They cross-posted this in flooring. Do you live in North Texas? All right, I think they live in North Texas, but anyway, we'll move on. Hard to know what went wrong on that. The key takeaway from that one is if you are a homeowner, please communicate your expectations of what you want your floor to look like to the contractor beforehand. Not saying this homeowner did not do that, but we want this floor to look exactly like our current floor is. And that takes a lot of like wiggle room, gray area out if you end up in a situation like this, because you obviously have pictures of what your floor looked like beforehand. And you can show that to the contractor when you have your conversation and say, hey, we talked about this. I wanted my floor to look like it previously did, which is in this picture you can see, and it doesn't look like that. You know, and then I'm a huge fan of not making your decision on firing the contractor or hating on them or whatever until you've had a conversation, given them a chance to correct that. In my experience, most people are reasonable, and you know, if you say, hey, this is what we want, we obviously don't have that. Can we get to this? Then what I like to do as a next step, especially in this type of situation, is to ask, like, is there any way you could do a small section of the floor? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. And oftentimes it has to be like a line that's kind of self-contained, maybe a closet, something like that. Maybe you can tape off down the seam of a board and do, you know, a 4-foot section in a room. If you're going for something and you have doubts about somebody's ability to produce that, a good intermediate step is to ask, like, can we reproduce this on this area of the floor just to make sure it's what we want? And then hopefully they can come back and do the cross scrape correctly, and you don't have to listen to how much I hate cross scrape anymore, because you like it and your old floor actually, I think, looked pretty good. All right, genius or nightmare? This is a video here, YouTube video. What are you doing? What is going on? All right, okay, all right. I mean, you own a legitimate floor sanding machine. Seems like a floor, like this is an actual flooring professional. Yeah, for sure, this guy knows hardwood floors. He's cruising, she's cruising, they're cruising. Wow. This person is a Pullman fan. They've got the Pullman Cobra. It looks like they've got the Pullman filler they're filling the floor with. Pullman Spider, woo. Got Pullman Finish. Okay. Genius or a nightmare flooring? Both? The cool thing about wood is people are always coming up with incredibly creative wood projects. Wood floors are no exception to that. So there are people doing all kinds of cool wood floors, things that have never been done before. I remember when I lived in Houston, Texas, there was a company down there that won Wood Floor of the Year because they just took a bunch of pallets, ripped all the lumber off of these pallets that they would have stuff shipped in on, and they just had a big pile of pallet wood, and they ended up going in and doing a floor that looked like an old reclaimed floor with pallet wood, and it won floor of the year. So people are coming up with all kinds of creative things. Like you can use all kinds of wood products to create beautiful furniture and floors and what have you. I don't know what these little strips are from. Obviously somebody's been saving them for a while. Maybe somebody else will know where these are from. Maybe Uncle Bob had a giant pile of little strips out behind the barn and you saw them for free and you thought, I can make a really cool floor with that. Genius or nightmare? Either or. It is genius if you are creative and you want to do a creative floor that nobody else has done and you're into that. It is a nightmare when you are the flooring professional that gets called and the homeowner says, I saw a video online, and gives you this video and says, can you recreate this? I'm sure a lot of flooring professionals have been in that situation. If you're trying to recreate something like this, if you're the homeowner who sees this video and you're like, oh my gosh, I want that floor, just realize a lot of dadgum work went into this floor. That does not look like an easy floor to install. It's probably gonna cost a pretty penny. I'm gonna guess, because this person is showing this online, that, you know, like they wanted to do this floor and they're proud of it, and good for them. I mean, that's a cool looking floor. The first homeowner who asked me to do this floor, I will turn this down. Let's take a look at the, 3 whole comments. This was professionally done. It doesn't matter what the people say. If the client wants a wooden floor, then voila. It is professionally done. It only matters really what the homeowner says in terms of the end product. And if they want a wood floor, then you don't have to go this far. But if you do, then you get to say voila. No, to me it doesn't look good at all visually. Unusual? Sure. Unique? Check. Cheap and odd looking like an afterthought? Yes. Yeah, people have different tastes in floors. I mean, if you work with wood, then you can certainly appreciate it. This has been me reacting to online hardwood flooring posts. If you have any posts or anything you've seen that you want me to see, put that in the comments below. If you have any other reactions or questions about what I said, put that in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe.